Oh yes, the bald Nick Shell, the zero guard Nick Shell. I wonder, so here's my first responding to a comment video now that I've got rid of my hair. Our great friend, Maxwell Smart, he commented on a video I made called Vote, Never Go Bald, but Definitely Die at age 60. And here's what he says, quote, I wouldn't do it at age 55. That would give me just 5 more years. I would have paid into the pension system and not had a chance to enjoy a penny of it. On a personal note, where is this dark side to Nick Shell coming from? Too much Netflix? End quote. The answer is, well, a lot of it would have to do with Netflix. I mean, man, between Breaking Bad, like the best show ever, I've just finished the 2nd season of Better Call Saul. I've seen all, what is it, 3 or 4 seasons now of Black Mirror, I'm sorry. So, yeah, a lot of it is Netflix. To say it's too much, probably not so much. I think that just sort of goes on top of the fact of where I'm at as a guy pushing into my late 30s. I think it goes back to this fundamental thing, how I keep talking about how you alone control your confidence. Most people don't realize that, and they let people who flip them off or curse them out give them a bad day and hurt their feelings and make them emotional. Nick Shell doesn't do that. Nick Shell knows that only Nick Shell controls his own emotions. And I think through the life experiences in the last several years of my 30s have toughened me up to that point. It's helped me also realize, and I made a video about this on my other channel, Family Friendly Daddy Blog, that there's no such thing as good and bad people. Most people go through their life saying, but I'm a good person. They can't treat me that way. They can't say that to me. I'm a good person. I deserve better. Nick Shell doesn't say he's a good person. I'm not a good person. I identify as the villain in life. I assume that I'm going to disappoint at least one person every day, you know? And so that's my mind. I identify as the villain. Now, perhaps, ultimately, maybe I'm a sheep in wolf's skin, the opposite of what people normally hear. Perhaps I really am a good guy, but I identify as the villain because then I'm less likely to disappoint others and myself. I think the dark side of me, and I think with this has always been a part of me. It's just that I was tied to this show and I couldn't do it. But now I can. And it's funny because since the last time I did this, which was Christmas Day 2015, is that right? It's been over 2 years now since I've buzzed off my hair. And it's like I was just getting this channel off the ground back in those days. I only had a couple hundred subscribers. And so all these lessons on confidence weren't in my head yet. I didn't know that only I alone have the ability to control my emotions, whereas most people let other people offend them and insult them. And no one can do that to Nick Shell anymore. See, I didn't know that back then. I didn't know that there's really no such thing as good or bad people. We're just people. And the moment we think that we're a good person, we're setting ourselves up for failure for someone else to hurt us. So I think really it comes down to emotional intelligence. It's my emotional journey and realizing that I control all those things. And I think all that ties into the hair. It's the same, it's like I've always said, if you're the kind of person who's going to be offended by something someone else says to you, then you haven't got to where I am emotionally. And I invite you to come here to realize you don't have to let anyone at all control your emotions but you. The next time someone flips you off or curses you out or says anything to you, maybe they're even saying, hey, are you going bald? The best thing to do is just to own up to it. Yeah, yep, I'll be bald by the time I'm 21. That's me. When you own up to that, you steal their thunder, you know? Since I already identify as a villain, I don't have anything to lose. Yet in my heart, I'm always trying to help people. That's why I make this channel, to help younger guys to psychologically deal with their hair loss. So I think it's a very relevant question there, Max, and I'm glad you asked. Definitely, my perspective on life has changed. I mean, I'm gonna be closer to 40 officially in in a month and a half. And I'm so grateful for that journey. I've been through some tough things in my life that probably wouldn't sound tough to most people, but they have wrecked me psychologically over the years, you know. I mean, from getting married to having 2 kids to making a move out of state when we didn't have jobs and moving back. None of that sounds traumatic. But to me, it shook the foundations of who I was and it redirected my focus. So I'm able to see, and even shows like Lost. I think Lost is a great show where even the good guys are ultimately bad guys and the bad guys are ultimately good guys. And you see that it's not as cut and dry as we want it to be. So I think once you realize and you take power away from those illusions, it helps you become a better person. And it helps you realize, wow, I don't have to keep thinking I'm a good person all the time. I don't have to keep getting insulted by this. And I don't need hair to be confident. To me, It absolutely is all connected. They're not two different things. They're the same thing. That's why I talk so much about them. So Max, I love you, man. Thanks for asking that question. So relevant to what this channel is all about.